say fuck them, don't feed them, cause we don't even need them. I never celebrate the tyrants that are taking our freedom. Yeah, fuck them, don't feed them, cause we don't even need them. I never celebrate the tyrants that are taking our freedom. Yeah, I said fuck them, don't feed them, cause we don't even need them. I never celebrate the tyrants that are taking our freedom. We don't even need them. I never celebrate the times that are taking our freedom.
Man, I am fired up. I'm fired up, man, because we are at war. It's not a kinetic war, but make no mistake, this is a war. For years, shitposters, trolls, bloggers, podcasters, and vloggers have been under attack. They've been kicked off of social media, depersoned, and financially broken. The bend is always the same. Libertarians, conservatives, anarchists, populists, and every other anti-establishment personality that refuses to conform to the status quo centrism of perpetual war, mass murdering women and children for the heinous crime of being born in a foreign nation, perpetual debt, 27 trillion and growing at an exponential rate, economic fascism, corporate state cartels and enforced monopolies, mass surveillance, censorship, and blacklists are destroyed through a concerted effort of the big tech media banking trifecta. That's not to mention intelligence agencies. Even little old me finds myself under attack as of recent. In May of 2020, year zero began to hit its stride. It wasn't perfect. Recording podcasts out on the road is challenging, and I've had my share of quality issues with sound and signal. But growth started ticking up rapidly. I received an email from Apple that I found encouraging. Year zero had breached the top 75 in the genre of politics. That's not too bad for a no-name trucker constantly struggling with scheduling and energy. But suddenly in late July, the 4 and 5 star ratings I'd been receiving came to a halt, and a barrage of 1-star ratings and a few bad reviews hit my Apple rating. I dropped from a solid 4.5 star podcast to a 2.5 star podcast, nowhere near the top 100 anymore. This appears to be a concerted effort, and it seems to be ramped up with the censorship of other voices by big tech since the election of Joe Biden. The cathedral and its androids want dissident voices silenced, especially voices like mine reaching blue-collar Americans. My anti-intellectual assault on their narratives and revised history relates to the truck drivers, construction workers, welders and pipe fitters, mechanics, drunkards, and deplorables. The last thing they want is a coalition of gritty, no-nonsense men and women rejecting their waspy, overeducated sophistry and demanding complete freedom from their blood-soaked regulatory grip. Help me fight back against these monsters. Go to your favorite podcast feed, subscribe, give me a 5-star rating, and review Year Zero. We can push these ratings back up and tell the elites to go to hell. It's up to all of us to support each and every creator that we rely on. Donate $1 or $2 a month to your favorite creators. Grant 5-star ratings to all of them. Give them reviews. And share all of our work as we continue to build our brands and fight the propaganda war in the interests of our children and grandchildren. You can shoot me a donation at paypal.me/Tommy Salmons. Subscribe to my Substack, TommySalmons.substack.com. Check me out on the Libertarian Institute it's libertarianinstitute.org/year zero. And just show us also support. We're out here working really hard. We're doing all we can to fight back against this propaganda machine. And like I said, these blood-soaked monsters, man. So enjoy the podcast.
Working up on Capitol Hill, I kill more people with my pen than your guns ever will. Yeah, where the bankers and bomb makers are the people I truly serve. The root of all our evil, it begins with the Federal Reserve.
I'm Tommy Salmons. This is Year Zero. On today's podcast, I have a good friend of mine that decided he would finally join me after a couple of years of badgering him, Erik Sawyer. Erik Sawyer is formerly one of the co-hosts of the Revolution Report. Since the end of the Revolution Report, he has fathered a child and bought a home, so congratulations for sure. I invited him on to talk about all the stuff we see going around us in 2021, and he was happy to oblige, and we chat about Wall Street bets, we chat about Doug Mackey, we chat about identity politics, and how it has infiltrated the Libertarian Party. So enjoy. And we are here with Erik Sawyer. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
All right. We haven't heard much from you since the end of the Revolution Report, so it's nice to have you back on the air.
Yeah, I had to take a little break there. I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but I'll be getting back into it soon. You know, I bought the house, had a kid, so I did a big addition on my house, so I've been a little busy.
No, I've seen pictures that you have posted of your child, and congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, finally settled. I'm starting to do some work with the Mises Caucus in New Hampshire. That's starting to get going. So getting back into it.
That's good, man. That's really good. I'm glad to hear that. I know that everybody has to have their personal lives, and how things go for them at home makes a difference on how active they can be in the community. So it's really good. How are you feeling about the Mises Caucus at this moment in time? Because there's a lot of exciting news around.
Yeah, very excited, very hopeful. Things since January 6th, it seems, and I don't know if it's related to the response from the official LP, but since that point, the Mises Caucus numbers have exploded. And particularly here in New Hampshire, things were pretty quiet for a while when I got into it. But we had a slow trickle of people coming in. We had a little meetup where only 6 people were there. But then all that stuff happened, and we've just been getting flooded with people. We actually have our second meetup tomorrow and in Manchester, New Hampshire, and we're pretty much at capacity. There's about 30 people that are coming.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. And we're getting involved in a little legislation work, helping out with Defend the Guard. We got that bill to legislator Kevin Craig in New Hampshire, and he introduced it. So that's in the works. Yeah, so that's exciting.
Oh, that is exciting. I did an episode. I think it was with Mike Maharry, and I did an episode last year about Defend the Guard. So I'm glad to hear that subject's continuing to come up. Yeah,
that's funny because I had heard Dan McKnight on Scott Horton's show a bunch of times talking about it, and then I started doing stuff in New Hampshire with the Mises Caucus, and I just happened to be listening to Tom Woods, and Mike Maharry was on talking up Defend the Guard again. So I was like, yeah, you know what, this will be our first item to work on, and I emailed Dan, and he got right back to me, and it's going. It's introduced, so it's in the hands of the legislature now.
Yeah, well, that's good. And I know Mike, that, like I said, that's something that Mike and I had talked about last year. So I'm really glad it's back in the news, or at least of the libertarian movement, and people are moving. That's a very important movement. You want to explain that a little bit before we get rolling into the subject that we're here to talk about?
Yeah, essentially, I mean, it'll be a small but significant step in pushing back against these endless and mainly unconstitutional wars, and that's pretty much what the bill will do. It'll, for the National Guard at least, it'll prevent, say here in New Hampshire, from the governor from sending any National Guard troops to any foreign wars with that does not have a constitutional declaration of war. That's pretty much it. Yeah,
and I know they were looking at pushing it to several. I think it was, if I remember right, last year there were 20. I want to say it was 23 states.
I think it's 26, almost 30 now. It's
Okay.
introduced.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were 23 states that were looking at introducing that legislation, and that, I mean, it's not going to completely stop or neuter anything, but it is going to put a major dent in the plans of the foreign policy elite.
Yep, and they're the opposition to it. It's just about money. It's, they're going to lose money, federal funding, and that's pretty much all they have. Right. And it's funny because you would think this would be something that Democrats would get behind, right? I mean, they're supposed to be the ones who oppose overseas wars, but we know that's not the truth. But
you mean the people that have started almost every major conflict in history?
In theory, but so here in New Hampshire, it's not a single Democrat is on board, and we reached out to them. We reached out to Republicans, Libertarians, and Democrats, and it's all Libertarians, of course, support it, and Liberty Caucus Republicans. Kevin Craig, who's a Republican in the Liberty Caucus, he's the one who introduced it. And all the co-sponsors are Liberty Caucus Republicans, and that's where all the support's coming from.
I imagine that would be something that Tulsi Gabbard would want to get on board with too.
I think she's very much behind it. Yeah, it's been introduced in Hawaii. That's one of the states. So
yeah, I would imagine that would be something big for her. She's still active duty, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I thought so. I knew she was out of Congress, but I thought she was still active in the reserve in the National Guard.
I wish she had stayed in. I mean, she's not perfect, obviously, but
who is
she? Yeah. Did you see Spike Cohen's tweet? That was a good one.
Which one was that? I saw he had put a couple of them out there. Which one are you specifically talking about?
Next project, using our Wall Street bets meme power to crash the military industrial complex stocks.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Oh, yeah.
All right, but that's a perfect segue. We wanted to get into. We're absolutely talking about fighting the cathedral, the establishment, however you want to put it, the war machine, the welfare state. If I can speak, I'm gonna stumble over my tongue a little bit, but yeah, that's I mean, and Dave Smith put it really well during the Archie Flowers debate when he said, look, man, if you're going to be offended by fucking words, you're not ready for the fight that we're engaging in, because we're fighting the CIA,
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, and he's absolutely right. And, one of the things I had told everybody when I switched the name of my podcast over to Year Zero is like, I'm against the CIA. This is like my thing. Like I've been interested in reading and studying the CIA since I was like 13 years old, man. I saw the movie JFK and I thought it was a documentary and I went fucking berserk. There's going to be a multi-front fight here. And when you see what happened with Wall Street Bets this week, you have to cheer. It's like, this is remarkable.
Oh my God.
This is a complete reflection. I think I told you in the chat earlier, but I told my buddy who's a syndicalist, I was like, this is Austrian economics defeating corporatism. That's what you're watching.
Yeah. Occupy Wall Street back in 2008, occupied all these spaces for what, months on end. And what did they get out of it? Nothing. And you get politics. These self-proclaimed autists on Reddit who totally freaking took their hornet's nest and shook it in the matter of days, and they're all panicking right now.
I love how the term autist has become a badge of honor.
Have you been on that Wall Street Bets Reddit page yet? It's hilarious.
No, I've been on the Discord, but I haven't been on the.
Oh,
I don't jack around with Reddit that much. I got a new
I
phone
don't
and
either.
I got a new phone and I never even put the app back on my phone because I was part of
Yeah.
I was part of Scott Horton's Reddit
Right.
group, but I just haven't gotten on there. I haven't been on there. I've been trying to really wing down my social media, stick to our chats, stay in my own little bubble, do my research, and not get angry at fucking avatars on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned Dave earlier, and he had a really good one too. He wrote a group of people on Reddit using the market did more to transfer wealth from the Wall Street class to the regular people than 100 plus years of progressive policies.
Yeah. That's it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I tweeted something out this morning and I was like, that feeling when socialists realized that it wasn't government that redistributed the wealth, it was the market.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's poetry in motion. Just watching it, it's so poetic. It's like, we've been telling you.
Yeah. And we've seen nothing but of divide, mostly perpetrated by the media, just in this whole Trump phenomenon, and then COVID, and then you get this event happening right now, and you're seeing people from the left, from the right, libertarians, far left, everywhere around the political spectrum, who pretty much all agree, fuck these hedge fund managers.
Well, here's another thing. When people look within themselves and solve problems on their own without turning to government,
right?
Somehow they found a way to be united. It's almost as if the government is the problem.
Yeah.
And you see this because all these government officials are suddenly so concerned about, like, just out there, God, this is so dangerous. You're going to lose so much money. We got to do this for you. We got to do that for you. And the people that are involved in this are like, fuck you. I don't care if I lose everything. And you're not going to turn me against my neighbor because we're a different color, because we're fighting you and your corporatism and your cronies.
Yeah. I think what's happening right now, like I said, it's helping with the divide. We've seen, like, right away, CNN, these articles coming out about Reddit and the scourge of white supremacy on Reddit. And I think these articles and these views are being completely rejected by people right now, because I think people are laser focused on what's happening.
Right. And Dave and Tim Pool both have much bigger audiences than I do. And they've both pointed out several times that what destroyed the Occupy movement was the insertion of identity politics. So we have to really be very aware of what these people are trying to do. They're trying to repeat the same thing they repeated, or the same thing same strategy they utilized at Occupy to destroy that movement. So you have to be
exactly
aware.
But it was, and I think, I don't know if it was Dave that was saying this, but like right around that end, what was it, like 2010 or whatever, like that's right when the identity politics shit started. There's that great, it's like a newspaper cartoon, the dude sitting at his desk and all the protesters behind him with the Occupy signs, and all he says is, here, introduce them to identity politics.
Absolutely. Yeah. Divide and conquer. And that's all identity politics has ever been meant for, is to divide and conquer. It's to, they see you as the other. And then as that is evolved, it's become the other sees you as the other, this animal, this person that's not even this unhuman thing over there is trying to take away your freedoms and your livelihood and your humanity through their words and their actions.
And now we have the power of the internet. I mean, we had the internet then, but it's been over a decade, and we have these groups like Reddit and stuff and these really smart dudes who are figuring this shit out and realizing that, you know, they don't need to go stand outside Wall Street with a sign when they're not going to give two fucks about that. And they can do much more damage by sitting behind a computer screen.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And we don't have a $1 trillion media conglomerate shoving propaganda down people's throats every day, but we do have free thinking individuals who are out there looking around going, none of this makes any fucking sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And we got all these big names in their live streams and all these independent journalists. And that's why we're seeing the crackdown on social media and YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I started publishing my podcast, not only through Libsyn where I've been publishing it, but I also publish it at my Substack separately. Instead of having Libsyn automatically upload it to my Substack, I publish it separately there. So therefore I have a backup, you know, if worse comes to worse, you know?
Yeah. Do you put your podcast on YouTube?
It automatically uploads on YouTube, but I don't pay any.
You should check out Odyssey and Library.
You know, yeah, I do. I need to check that out. I tried BitChute when it first came out, and I would sit there for like 8 hours, and the whole time it would tell me it still had like 8 hours left to upload, and I would be like, well, you haven't moved at all. Like I can't do this. I don't have time for this. So I just never did upload to BitChute, but I do need to check out Library and Odyssey for sure.
Yeah.
We have a guy, Doug Mackey, who's looking at 10 years in prison for posting memes.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, you want to talk about cracking down on somebody. Memes he posted in 2016, suddenly 2 days ago, he's arrested and facing 10 years in prison.
Yeah. I'm not even too familiar with this story, but you guys are talking about it in the chat and I took a little peek at it. I don't even need to know the details. Like it's absolutely insane.
Well, yeah, they're saying they got him for, what is it, U.S. Code 18 section whatever, yada yada. It's a voter code violation. Is like coercive voting, coercion of voters or something like that. Basically, what he did is he posted. You remember that meme that was going around in 2016? That was a joke about all the about the text codes, right? For to vote for such and such, text this word to this number, right?
Yeah.
So he posted a meme that said to vote for Hillary Clinton, type Hillary in, text Hillary to 4141 or something like that. And so apparently 4,900 people thought that was really how you voted in this country. Well, they shouldn't be fucking voting. They shouldn't be fucking voting. I'm sorry. If that's what you thought was going on, I'm glad that you didn't make it to the ballot box.
Oh, man. Probably about 75% of the population shouldn't be voting.
Memes are the test for voting we've all been asking for.
Absolutely, yeah.
So apparently he violated people's right to vote by posting a meme that told them to text Hillary to 4141 or whatever.
Yeah, it's crazy, and we're laughing because it's so ridiculous, but you know, it's pretty awful what that story, and you know, people who went to this ridiculous protest at the Capitol, people being fired from work, arrested, just, you know, kicked off every social media platform, and it's all under the guise of, you know, Orange Man bad. We got to get rid of this fascist and his supporters, but you know, it's not. You know, they're starting with them, but you're already seeing libertarians and other freedom thinkers getting deplatformed and kicked off social media altogether. You know, Michael Heist was kicked off Facebook. Like, well, what's going on here?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and if the fact that Ron Paul lost all
Yeah.
his posting abilities to his
Yes.
page on Facebook doesn't open your eyes, then there's nothing that's going to
Yes.
open your eyes.
Yes. The man that's been preaching, voluntary interactions and peace and free markets for his entire fucking life.
Yeah.
He's a big threat to
Yeah.
democracy.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
maybe he is. Maybe
Yeah.
his ideas are a threat to democracy, actually. But
Yeah. Peace and prosperity is
yeah,
is really hate speech in
yeah,
and when well, at least in the doublethink world that we live in today. So it's just it's insane. And you're right, we're not laughing because it's not funny that this kid, I say kid, he's 31 years old, is facing 10 years. I mean, that's fucking horrible. But you
yeah,
can't, you could, I mean, if I would have wrote this as one of my short stories, I would have been mocked.
yeah.
Like, this is so absurd. This is like straight idiocracy.
Yeah.
We live in a satire.
Yeah. If you were writing a dystopian novel and you wrote that and your editor, you read it and you'd be like, "What? Why is this in here? That's ridiculous."
Yeah, that's insane. Like, that would never happen. And here it is. It happened. He's facing 10 years in prison for a meme. And it's just like, this is okay. Like, some people can't take a joke. I get that, but God, you don't have to get so fucking offended.
Yeah. Yeah. And where's the left? I got a lot of people who are pretty much far left from center in my life, friends and family, and of course they're cheering all this, but it's like, I mean, can't you see? I mean, I all I can do with these people is send them like Glenn Greenwald videos and like, oh look, here's one of your people telling you how it is. Like, this is not good, because eventually everything's going to come back around, and someone who you don't like is going to be in power, and they're going to come after you.
Yeah, I don't understand what happened to people. I really don't. I don't understand how
Trump happened. That's it.
Yeah.
He fucking fried people's brains, like brain cells.
He broke them. They're broken. Yeah. They're literally broken. They all belong in the movie The Ringer right now. Just like, I'm baffled, Stevie. I just can't. I can't wrap my head around it.
Sorry, it's just fucking Joe Biden is the president. I'm trying to watch him. Like, I'm watching him sign these. I don't know if I'm getting off track here, but I'm watching him sign these executive orders and just mumbling under his stupid fucking mask. And he gets up and he just looks so frail and weak. And it's like, this is the guy you chose? Like, you guys could have had Tulsi Gabbard, but you fucking ignored her and called her an Assad apologist. You fucking idiots.
I was standing behind a guy at the store earlier, man. He was wearing 3 fucking masks.
No way. Get out of here.
This was a big ass buff dude, man. It looked like some type of guy that spends like 2 hours at the gym every day. And I'm standing there and I'm just staring. I know he's like looking at me out of the corner of his eye, like, why is this faggot looking at me like this? But I just couldn't help it. I was just like, I'm counting 3 fucking masks.
I can't believe people are. I saw a picture of Joe Biden with 2 masks on. I'm like, you've got to be fucking shitting me right now. Like, what a weak, pathetic man. Like, what are you doing?
I just can't help it, man. I couldn't take my eyes off the guy. I know he thought I was flirting with him. I know he did, but I was just like, are you fucking serious? And I'm like studying them. I'm like, okay, that one's got stains from at least 6 months ago.
Yeah, I worked with a guy. He had a big fucking brown stain on right where the mouth is. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Change your fucking mask, dude.
Take your mask off before you eat ass.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. I'm in New Hampshire, and it's pretty normal. Hey, not everybody out there is wearing masks, but I go to work in Boston and Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I'm not shitting you. It's 100% of the people walking outside by themselves. It's freezing out. It's cold. They're walking. Every single person, people driving in their cars. It's like a freaking dystopian zombie land of just a bunch of mindless drones walking around. It makes me angry when I see this. It drives me crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just, and it's doing some horrible things to children too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
yeah, my kids' daycare, like they at first they make them wear them in, and then when they brought them out, of course I can't go in anymore to pick her up. I have to wait outside, and I'm not putting a mask on, so I stand back near my car. And but now I see the kids through the window, they're all wearing masks, and I'm like, they wear masks all day now? And she's like, yes. And I just shake my head and leave with my kid. And I'm, talking to my wife right now, and it's like, we want to get her out of there. It's ridiculous. You get a whole generation of kids right now that barely see people's faces and their smiles and their expressions, and
right.
just this constant pushing of fear onto them. Like, don't get too close to Jimmy over there. Be scared of people. Don't touch them. Go wash your hands. Like, yeah, it's just we're messing with kids' heads right now with this stuff.
Well, not with just kids, man. Like,
everybody, yeah.
Well, yeah. Like extroverts, especially. Like, I'm an introvert. You don't really, you may not be able to tell it, by the way I interact with people on my podcast or whatever, but I'm really an introvert. I'm perfectly happy. I can go sit next to my pond for fucking hours and do nothing. I read a book and just sit there, and I'm fine. I'm good. Watch the fish jump, eating fucking dragonflies off the water, and I'm good, man. Like, I don't need a lot, but B is a super extrovert. And there was a 1 week, luckily it was only 1 week, in our town. We live in a really small town there in Southeast Texas. And there was 1 week where they were really like stringent on, you have to wear a mask to come into the grocery store. And she's the type of person, because she works from home, she's very extroverted. She loves people. She loves dealing with people. So she only shops for what she wants to eat that day. Right. So she would go to the store every day so she could see people and interact and have that engagement. And she had friends at Market Basket, the grocery store there where we live. And that 1 week, she would call me up, like crying almost, like, I dread going. I can't do this. I can't tell if they're laughing. I can't tell if they're crying. I can't wait to get out of there, because I have to wear this fucking mask. I can't see their faces. I want to know what the fuck. I can't interact with these people like this. I mean, it is hurting people, like, in general. But then you hear stories like this about I heard a story the other day. I can't remember where it was, but there was a school that said, I don't care about COVID. We have a suicide epidemic running rampant through the body of our school. We have to reopen the school. It's like, what the fuck is going on when 11-year-olds are blowing their fucking heads off?
Yeah. Yep. And that's the range where it's I think it's like 15 to 20. The suicide rates are through the freaking roof right now. It's
right. Well, and then on top of that, you bring in the rest of the culture where, okay, now if you are white, or should I say of a certain color, you were less than human. It sounds really racist when you say it that way, doesn't it? But yeah, if you're a white kid, then you're less than human. You're the problem with society. You're the problem with all of the world's problems. Yada yada yada. You've caused
toxic
all
masculinity.
Of this. Yeah, especially if you're a white male. Oh my God, let that happen. Then you got these kids, man. They're growing up now. They can't see people's faces. They're told they're the devil, from a young age. And this is the culture where we're raising our children in.
Yeah. The long-term effects of this aren't going to be it might be impossible to calculate how many deaths the lockdowns and this whole culture has caused. I mean, a lot of people have died from COVID, and it's sad and it sucks. But I honestly, in my opinion, I think the numbers are grossly inflated due to the way they do PCR tests and how they mark down deaths. But that's a whole nother story.
Okay.
But,
well, wait. Maybe they are inflated, but even one death is too many.
And not a suicide death though.
No.
We don't start talking about that until Joe Biden's president.
Okay, no.
Finally see stories about it now.
No. Yes, the kid, there was a gunshot wound to his face. Self-inflicted gunshot wound to his face, but he did test positive for COVID. So
that's a COVID death.
That's a COVID death.
Yeah. These PCR tests where they run it through like 30,
People
35, 40 cycles. You run that many cycles, you can find almost anything in anybody. So like if you get a high cycle PCR test and there's a small trace of COVID, you had no symptoms, you're fine, and 3 weeks later you drop dead of a heart attack, that's a fucking COVID death.
Yeah. That's people are going to be so black-pilled listening to this episode, man.
Hey, no, but
don't be.
In the span of 24 hours, on January 20th, two of the heaviest lockdown states, New York and California, the most draconian, totalitarian states in the union, they finally decide, okay, we can't do this forever. We're going to open back up. Come on back in. Joe Biden's president now. I mean, maybe it's the magic of Joe Biden. Maybe he's curing COVID.
A lot of people said that was going to happen, and I didn't believe it. I was like,
I didn't either. I can't believe how quickly it's happening.
Yeah, and I was like, they'll never do that. Like, number one, it's so transparent.
Yeah.
Number two, like, they don't want to give this control up. And number three, nobody's going to put up with this. Nobody's going to. I guess that goes with the transparency, but nobody's going to put up with this. Nobody's going to look at this and be like, well, wait, yesterday it was deadly, but today it's okay.
I think people are seeing it, but we're just not seeing stories about it. But
there are a lot of people seeing it. I can tell you that I get contacted. I got contacted this week by a family member asking me, going like, wait, what the fuck is happening? Like, I'd never put them out there, but I get it. My wife gets it. Like, yes, there are people that are like, hold on one fucking second. What the fuck happened to this country? I'd heard people say stuff like this like 10 years ago, and I was like, no way. Yeah. And then I woke up in 2020 and was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, you put on CNN now, and from March until January 19th, they had the, what I like to call the death box in the whole right side of the screen. Case count, death count, worldwide case count, worldwide death count. It's gone.
It was gone.
More death box.
When it was gone? November 4th. Because then it was a countdown to when Orange Man left.
Yeah. No, it was there after November 4th. I remember seeing it.
Oh, was it? Okay. Because I remember hearing a story about it, like on November 4th. It was like, hey, suddenly your death count is gone. Yeah. And now you got counting down the days till Orange Man leave.
I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I saw this one that just these people with Biden. It's I don't know who the anchor was, but it was CNN, and they're playing the inauguration, and just think about how these people talked about Trump. I mean, we're no Trump fans. He can be a dick, but I mean, these people, this lady was like, the sidelights on the National Mall reflecting pool are like extensions of Joe Biden's arms embracing America. Like, holy shit. I had my hand over my mouth watching. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Was it Chris Matthews whenever Obama got elected? I got thrills going up my leg.
Yeah. The dude, when the one time they complimented Trump when he's sending missiles over to bomb Syria.
Yeah.
The beauty of the bombs flying through the air. Oh, this is presidential.
This is his first time he's acted presidential. he's because he just fucking murdered fucking children.
I'm surprised they didn't say something like, it's like the outstretched straps of Joe Biden's mask filtering out all the deplorables.
The lights are acting as a filter, like lasers. The disease is gone.
We're healed. We're healed. America's healing.
White supremacy went out with the 94 crime bill.
Yeah.
Fucking people. And the worst part is there are a lot of libertarians that accept this.
There are so many.
What? How is
blue-pilled cathedral worshipping libertarians?
Do you think that's all it is? Do you think it's just a blue pill thing? Because I've tried to.
I think they want to be accepted into popular society. They want to be accepted to the cocktail parties. They want to be a part of that group.
Yeah, but no, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about people I would see like in Facebook groups and stuff like that. Like just your average Joe who's a working guy, just your average working guy, but they just buy into it. I mean, it's like, I guess they're the Reason audience, the Cato audience. Like, I guess I just can't place my finger on it.
Well, I think those people in the Facebook comments are just reflecting what, the people they listen to are saying. You listen to the Cato podcast, the Reason podcast. I mean, some of it's all right. I mean, Nick Gillespie is good sometimes, but, I'm listening to them talk about the violent insurrection on January 6th. And I might as well have been listening to a CNN podcast.
Oh my God.
With the occasional pushback from Nick Gillespie. That's it. But,
I was so, I'm just going to say this because they don't know who I am. And even if they found out who I was, they wouldn't give a shit. I was so fucking disappointed in the Fifth Column. I
didn't even listen. I don't even listen to them anymore.
Oh, dude, I haven't listened to him since because Camille wouldn't even come out and like say anything of any reason. He just let Moynihan blue pill the whole fucking audience.
Oh God.
And I'm like, dude, come on, dude. Like, we all know who you are, Camille. Like, fucking just be you.
I'm surprised he didn't.
Know.
I'm surprised he didn't push back.
He really didn't. He just kind of let Moynihan go off on his thing, And
isn't Moynihan the dude that pushes war with Syria too?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I only listened to that podcast for Camille, and it was sometime last year. I noticed he would veer away from certain conversations. He just wouldn't have them. He wouldn't engage in them. And he would always come at you about race and this, that, and the other. He would always have that conversation, which is what drew me to him in the first place, which is fine. But we know your point on race.
Yeah.
Talk economics. You call yourself an anarcho-capitalist. You're a Misesian, a Rothbardian. Talk economics. When they're saying stupid shit about universal basic income or fucking welfare programs, talk economics with him. But he won't do it. It's like he's not case, he's like everybody says, well, you got to have a token black guy. He's the token anti-black guy.
Yeah.
But and it's like, come on, man. And anybody who doesn't know who Camille is, that I'm not calling him a racist. That's not what I was saying.
Yeah.
He's of a darker skin tone that does not consider himself black.
I think he's just anti-race.
Yeah, he is very anti-race. That's probably a more succinct way of putting it. So
right. Yeah, but what's the point? Just listening to some of these types that we're talking about. We all follow a pretty radical ideology, philosophy, and the cathedral and these people, they're never ever going to accept it, no matter how nice you are, no matter how much you agree with them, or no matter how many times you say it's not enough to be racist, or whatever that freaking tweet was from Jorgensen. But you know what I mean? It's like, so why not be bold, say what we think, stop pandering to these people, and just try to educate people.
Because I guess if you are an elitist of the third largest political party, you might be second tier, but you're still an elitist. But the fact of the matter is, you're an elitist of 1% of the fucking vote. You fucking numbskulls. You are fucking losers. So, fucking get over yourselves. You're nothing.
Yeah.
You're nothing. And these people never paid you any fucking attention. You were nothing more than a laughing stock to them. And nobody gave a fuck about you. And that's why people like me and Pete were like last year going, man, fuck this shit. Because we had to watch this shit. Knowing that if Spike Cohen were the top of the ticket, we'd at least be getting some fucking decent messaging. But we gotta listen to this fucking, Joe Jorgensen go around fucking preaching like she's a fucking kindergarten teacher, getting us all in fucking line to go to lunch. Man, fuck you.
Yeah, it's like we're in the middle during a run. We're in the middle of the government locking everyone in their homes, and she's out there saying the government's too big, too intrusive. It's like,
yeah,
but it's like Gary Johnson. It's like, I just think that going to war is just a very inefficient way to fucking come on, dude.
What was that?
Like Dave Smith on Joe Rogan.
Dave Smith did the part. That's exactly what I was gonna say. That was the best impersonation of Gary Johnson.
I just think that picking cotton is an inefficient way to use.
Slavery is an inefficient way of collecting cotton.
Yeah. My God, no! It's slavery is fucking immoral and it needs to be abolished immediately.
No shit. I mean,
these wars are fucking immoral. Talk about fucking Yemen. You know what? Give details about it. Show pictures of what's happening there. Call these people out for the fucking blood-soaked monsters that they are. We're not going to win. So why not use the fucking, 220,000 Twitter followers, these platforms you have to speak the truth to these monsters?
I saw a guy the other day on Twitter, and somebody asked him, so what do you think libertarian is? And he goes, well, we're just fiscally conservative and socially liberal. I said, you're fiscally unpopular and socially awkward.
Oh my God, that's perfect.
So, fucking stop thinking that way, you fucking dumbass.
Yeah.
You're not middle of the road. You're not an independent. You want to be an independent, go be a fucking independent.
Yeah.
Get the fuck away from us radicals, because we're about
a radical.
To string
Start acting like one. And I think we all need to start acting more like one.
No shit, man.
Listen to Pete's last month worth of podcasts and follow that playbook.
And try not to get kicked off of Twitter.
Yeah. Well,
stop Fed posting, Pete.
Nah, he's been great. His episode with Eric July and Dave, those are two good ones.
Yeah,
But,
they were good.
yeah.
The one with Aaron was my favorite.
With Aaron?
Yeah, from Timeline Earth.
Timeline Earth. Oh my God, I started listening to that a while ago. That's when I need a laugh, man. I love Pete's episodes with either him or Bird breaking down these different philosophers and stuff. Those are real good.
I still got to get back to the one. Who would they did one? I think I missed.
They just did.
They did. The last one I heard was about Lenin, but
yes.
The one before that, wasn't it on Sterner?
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah,
I missed that one. I got to get back and listen to that one.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man. Like, I don't. What do we do about these libertarians, man? Because like, I'm kind of torn because I'm like, man. See. All right, the point of my podcast. And for those of you that hate my podcast so much that listen just so you can shit talk it, let me just explain something to you. This fucking podcast is not for you, you fucking dopes. You fucking waspy little cheerleaders of the cathedral. Go fuck yourself. I don't give a fuck about you, right? I'm not here for you. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking for you. I'm talking for and to the blue collar, average, everyday Joe. That's who I'm here for. That's the people I deal with. I'm a truck driver, you fucking retards. If you haven't figured it out, I don't give a fuck about your little prissy fucking, popularity contest. I don't give a shit. So go to fucking hell. Leave me the fuck alone. All right. That being said,
feel better?
A little bit. That being said, this podcast is about bridging that gap between the normie, the apolitical, the guy who's just now like waking up and going, what the fuck is going on in my country? It's bridging that gap to the Scott Hortons, the Dave Smiths, the Pete Quinones. That's my goal here. And these little poppy seed fucking libertarians, fluttering around like little butterflies, skipping through the field. Oh my goodness, we don't like white supremacy. We don't like this. We don't like that. Okay, nobody's saying any of us fucking like it either. But it's not at the top of our goddamn list. You know what's at the top of my fucking list? The CIA, the Federal Reserve, illegal fucking wars, fucking genocide in fucking Yemen. That's at the top of my fucking list. I don't give a fuck. Abusive fucking cops, murdering people like Daniel Shaver, choking a dude in the middle of the street. I don't care what drugs the dude was on. They choked him to death in the middle of the fucking street. Yeah. All right. So that's on the top of my fucking list. Duncan Lemp. Thank you very much. Red flag laws. Yeah, they fucking get people fucking killed. That's at the top of our fucking list. So take your little prissy fucking culture and move along to your goddamn Democratic Party where you fucking belong.
Hey, but one of the BML organizers liked Joe Jorgensen's tweet. Well, come on, Pete. I mean, come on, Tommy.
Now you're just fantasizing about Pete.
Yeah. But seriously, like, what? You're right. It's.
I mean, there's such atrocious things going on in this world. We just faced a year where fucking 80% of the country was locked down in their fucking houses, told they couldn't fucking leave without wearing a fucking diaper over their goddamn face, inhaling carbon dioxide. Like, what the fuck, man? Why are you fucking so concerned about whether or not I like the color of somebody's skin? You know what color skin I like? My wife's skin. My wife has beautiful skin. Any other skin on a female is uncivilized. I want my wife's skin. That's it. I give a shit less about the rest of it.
Yeah, and I forgot what I was going to say a second ago, but I was going to when's the last time?
You were calling me Pete. But
listen, Pete. Listen, Dave. Listen, Tom. When's the last time the official Libertarian Party Twitter said a fucking word about Yemen? Go and look. Go scroll down for fucking days, and you won't find a freaking word. When's the last time they said, to open up the economy? It's non-existent.
Yeah. No,
It's unbelievable. Like, what are we using that platform for? If the Libertarian Party is going to exist, I'm all for, that's why I'm doing work with the Mises Caucus, because I think they got it down. I mean,
right.
Me here at the local level, like I told you earlier, we're working on things like Defend the Guard. Like, I was on a Zoom call with Dan McKnight and legislatures that, I could see when I go out in the world, like, these people are close to us. So you can make have an effect in the most local of levels by doing activism and reaching out to these people and getting people in the local legislature and anything, school board, freaking dog catcher. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm all for that. But you go up to the national level, we're not going to win anything there. And we should do, like Angela McArdle said, we should be a shit talking prophet. We should be throwing bombs at these people,
right,
left and right, like, just using that platform, having a presidential candidate who's going to go out there and inspire people and tell the truth, like Ron Paul did, and talk about Yemen and talk about these totalitarian lockdowns, and point these things out to people. We have a platform. We can get this message out there,
right,
and stop pandering. Hashtag fucking BLM. Like, what's that going to do? No. Hashtag friggin' save Yemen. Like, seriously, we need to use that platform to be calling these blood-soaked monsters out for who they are. And, we can do that. Or we can just, have Justin Amash and, try to get Tulsi Gabbard to be his running mate and get freaking 4.2%. And then everybody forgets about the Libertarian candidate again. And he goes back to being a lawyer.
Yeah, no doubt. And I hear, I heard Larry Sharp the other day. I can't remember who he was talking to. But he was saying, perfect libertarian ticket would be Justin Amash and Tulsi Gabbard, because they may not win the presidency, but they get a lot of attention for down ballot. And I kind of see his theory behind it, but that's not what we need. We're dealing with a government that is completely out of control. We have a population that are taking over Wall Street through finances. They are bankrupting. They are working at bankrupting hedge funds. We got to reach those guys. Those are the guys that we want on our side, right?
Yeah, we want the autist on Reddit right now. On our side.
We want the radicals. We want the people that are actually going to make moves and shake things up, right?
Yeah.
Like, I like Tulsi Gabbard. I like Justin Amash, but
me too. Yeah.
They don't really get me. They don't grab my attention.
We don't need Justin Amash to help down ballot candidates. I mean, it's good for whoever the presidential candidate is can talk up the down ballot candidates. That's fine, but that's up to us local activists and these local party people to work on those and reach out to people in your neighborhood and community.
Well, if the whole point of Justin Amash, if his only idea is to run for president to help down ballot candidates, how about not run for president and just go campaign for all the down ballot candidates?
Yes. Go freaking
go nuts. Nobody's saying you can't do that.
Go join your legislature, you go back down to being in the local government and work with activists and try to get people elected. You don't need to go on to CNN to not mention the word liberty once, like when he was running for Libertarian for a hot minute. You need to go on to CNN and say the things like we've been talking about.
Right. We have to find somebody. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, no, you don't even need CNN. Fuck CNN. CNN. Yeah, we got plenty of freaking avenues to get the message out. We don't need the freaking cathedral. We don't need the corporate media anymore.
And we don't want them. We don't
want them.
We want people fighting them. That's what we want. That's what the point of these podcasts are. Those are our enemies. That's who we are fighting. We are at war with those people. They are the mouthpieces for the oppressive regimes that you have been living under for the last 100 years. That's what they do. They are a propaganda outlet. That's it. They are not your friends. They are not giving you information. They are telling you what they need you to hear so that you follow marching orders. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
We need people that are fighting them. Who is fighting them? And it's not Justin Amash. As much respect as I have for Justin Amash, it's not Justin Amash, right?
Yeah. We're seeing right now who's fighting them. And it's not the Libertarian Party.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's these wonderful people who are doing what they're doing, and we're you know, what we're watching right now, what's happening is just unbelievable. And it's, you know, this has been one big black pill, like you said, but, you know, I think that's the white pill, talking about what's going on now and, you know, what it could lead to. Like,
yeah. Yeah, no, and I don't want anybody to get like mistaken. I am very optimistic. Like what we're seeing, all right, between the great boomer capital tour of 2021 and the attacks on Wall Street by utilizing their rules against them, this is good. Right?
Yeah, like this whole system is designed to protect these people, these billionaire hedge fund managers who don't contribute a goddamn thing to society and just, you know, make billions off the backs of working people and, you know, tanking freaking companies and making billions off it. And these people figured it out, and we're pushing back. I mean back before the lockdowns happened, you know, and these people are all intertwined with government. Like Dianne Feinstein sold all her shares in hotels right before the lockdown. It's like, what the fuck is that? Like that, you know, if, you know, in the Robinhood yesterday, they stopped people from trading. Like,
right.
If I was doing bad on a stock, like, can you halt it for me? No, of course not. But when these people start losing money, and then you look that, you know, Robinhood app is owned by the people at Citadel, who are one of these big hedge fund managers.
Right.
It's just, you know, it's one big friggin' party, and you're not invited.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. Yeah. The great George Carlin.
Yeah.
Thank you, George.
Yeah. You lock people in their homes for months on end. And then, you know, a company like GameStop gets hit hard. I mean, you know, people are going towards the internet anyway, but they were still around. As a GameStop right near my house. And, you know, if I'm buying a new system, I'll go there and get it. But, you know, the lockdown happens and these people are destroyed. And then you get these hedge fund people who are short selling them and tanking their stock. And
yeah. And so
and we're pushing back. And it's like Dave said, what we're doing, this is doing more impact than this is doing more impact and transferring more wealth to regular people than 100 years of progressive policy.
Well, and here's another thing. Here is something I tweeted out today. It has been revealed. It has been revealed when Robinhood shut down the ability to buy certain stocks, and now today's shut down the ability to buy crypto. It was revealed that, hey, we're not on your side. We're doing this for them. And we may have said that our whole goal was to give people the ability to buy stocks. But what we were really doing is we were taking the information, kind of like Facebook does. We were taking your data and we were telling these rich hedge funders what people were buying so that they knew what to fucking short. Right.
Yeah.
And so when they shut down, they just exposed themselves. The veil was lifted. It was just right there in the open. We're not on your side, buddy. We're an app you can use, but we're not your app.
Yeah.
Right?
And how ironic the name Robin Hood.
Yeah. I've heard people say
Yeah.
that, but I always tell people, man, remember watching the show?
Yeah. No, I don't.
He was stealing from the tax collectors.
He was stealing from the government and giving it back to the people. But yeah, still, like this app is protecting these people.
Right. Yeah, no, for real. And but the tweet I put out, I was like, so we are to believe that the financial system is rigged, but the elections aren't.
Yeah.
That's what you're asking us to believe right now. You're showing us how the financial system works, but we're supposed to still have faith in the electoral process.
Yeah. No, I mean, these people are selected, and I think Trump, if there's anything good that he did, he threw a monkey wrench in that, and he got them all in panic mode. And it was 4 years of them panicking and making up stories, and all the way to here we are today. And
well, it was the first time ever they were able to point at a candidate and call him racist and sexist and xenophobic and homophobic and all their little fucking phobics and isms and ists and whatever the hell they want to throw at him, Nazi or whatever. It was the first time it never mattered. And they were like, holy shit, the propaganda not working. The hyperbole, ad hominem, everything we've used to control these little gremlins that we call citizens isn't working anymore.
Yeah, and you can tell just by the way, think what you want about him. I think he's a friggin' blood-soaked monster like the rest of them because of what he did in Yemen. But the way they talked about him and the way they treated him, you can tell he wasn't one of them. Yeah, he was a billionaire, but he wasn't a member of the cathedral, and it was plain as day to see.
Well, and that was what made it so hard through his presidency, and that's why I think it's actually a good thing that he lost. Was
right.
All right. Throughout his presidency, people like you and me were like forced to be like, no, that's not right. And then you're like, you're a Trump supporter. No, I'm not a Trump supporter, but what you're saying right now is completely fucking wrong. Like, and so we had to kind of, we found ourselves in a position where defending the truth meant that we had to defend him to an extent.
Right.
And now we're not in that position anymore. And
you're right. I don't know how many times I had to preface a statement with, I'm not a Trump supporter, but.
Right. Yeah. Well, and here's a good thing. All right. And I was talking to my wife about this earlier. The language of conservatives and the Trump supporter is very similar to our language, right? Like what they say they believe, it coincides with what you and I actually believe, right? What they have failed to do was get over the 15,000 hours of government schooling and follow the logical conclusion, right?
Yeah.
So given they already have the language, they already understand the concept, all we're trying to do is defeat their cognitive dissonance and open their eyes. Well, the fucking cathedral is doing half the fucking work for us.
Yeah.
So then all we have to do is say, yeah, we're over here. We've been here the whole time. You see what I'm saying?
You think there was a lot of red pills being swallowed in 2016? I think there's a hell of a lot more being swallowed in 2020, 2021.
No shit.
I mean, and these people, these Trump supporters, you got some people in the Libertarian Party and the Libertarian movement that, just want nothing to do with him and want to call them white supremacists and insurrectionists And it's like, I mean, come on, man. I mean, some of these people can be reached. I mean, therefore they're getting to be red pilled into libertarianism right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you look at, again, we're going to bring it back to the Wall Street bets. You look at this and you look at what's going on with Wall Street bets, and you're like, these guys are experiencing laissez-faire.
Yeah.
Like all they need is the right messenger to reach them.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like they understand who the enemy is. They understand the corruption of the system. They understand that it's all been rigged against them. All they need is to hear the right messenger.
Right.
And once they hear that, it's like they're going to be unstoppable, because these guys obviously are pretty brilliant, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Like I never stopped to think, hey, you know what I could do is learn the rules of the stock market and beat these fucking hedge funds at their own game. Never once crossed my mind to play their, I never thought playing their game. You know, like never once.
But now's the time to strike, though. Now's the time for the bigger libertarian voices out there to be explaining the financial system and free market economics and, you know, the financial system and what these people do, and crony capitalism, corporatism, and all this stuff. Not we're fiscally liberal and fiscally conservative and socially liberal. It's like, oh, come on, let's get into the weeds on this right now while we can.
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely, man. You're right on. And you know, we have some really good messengers out there. I wouldn't say I'm one of them. I do a podcast for a specific purpose. I'm talking to a specific person. Those people know who they are. We're the fucking degenerate redneck motherfuckers who like to drink a lot of beer. Like, we know who we are. We'd rather be riding four-wheelers than talking politics. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. So, but at the same time, you know, this stuff's important, and it interfered with our lives. You know, I've said this several times. I wouldn't even do this podcast if it wasn't for the fact that this shit started interfering with my life, right? Once it started interfering in my life, and I'm like, I got 5 kids. I got to make sure, like, what am I going to do if I told my kids, well, I just sat around, twiddled my thumbs, and went to work 40 hours a week and did nothing else? You know, like, at least, all right, being out here on the road, it's hard for me. It's really difficult. It's a struggle for me to remain involved, but I do everything I can to remain involved. And I do everything I can to keep this podcast flowing and keep it like interesting for people, and to talk about things that are going on, and to address subjects that I think are making a difference for the future of freedom, and things that will impact my children's lives in the future, you know. And, you know, my kids, I have a granddaughter now, you know, she's a year old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so,
yes.
You know, so I'm like looking at this and I'm like, she was born, she was $255,000 in debt the day she was born. Like, this isn't cool, man. like I'm not okay with this. And I don't have to be okay with this. And I got to do something. I got to talk somewhere. I got to fucking put it out there somehow. If I can make even the slightest little difference, you know? And so, like, that's why I do this. And it's like, all right, you know, like, and then you have a, you know, new baby, and you're out there and you're like, I know what's best. I know the right path. And so by attracting people, grabbing people that are already predisposed to this message, who may have some bad thoughts, all right? They might have some wrong opinions, but you know what? They're predisposed to the message. Get them in the community, get them in the culture of freedom, of liberty. Let them see an Eric July, a Maj Toure, somebody that's not like them. And then let that change their mind. Don't be a fucking the Stasi standing at the fucking gates of libertarianism saying you're not going to let somebody in because you think they might have the wrong opinion.
They made a a bad tweet 3 years ago that
Oh.
somebody dug up.
Or a tasteless meme. I mean, who hasn't posted the meme of a helicopter?
No, explain to them like the lockdowns and how it's being magically reversed right in front of our eyes, and what's happening with Wall Street bets and the stock market, and talk about how thousands of troops are being sent back to Syria as we speak right now.
Right.
Like all these things. Like,
and when David Nolan wrote an article years ago, I can't remember exactly when, but he wrote an article years ago, and he said libertarianism by its nature is evangelical. And Konkin rejected being evangelical in his message. And he thought that individuals acting and leading by example was what spread freedom from individual to individual. But what neither of them thought is what something I heard Pete say, and something that I believe, is that this is a multi-front battle. You can't just do one or the other. Set up your own individual freedom, as Harry Brown said, how I found freedom in an unfree world. Yeah. But at the same time, be evangelical. Spread the message of liberty too, because some people might learn by example. Other people might learn by preaching or the evangelism. Some people, if you speak logically to them, I had a guest on a while back, good friend of mine, kind of a conservatarian, more of a constitutionalist, from Texas. His name's Keith Orsag. He's been on the show. So I think it's okay if I say his name. Yeah. I shared a meme one time that blew his mind. And it was that real simple meme. If you think you're so free, name one thing that isn't taxed, regulated, or illegal.
Right.
And he's like, dude, when you shared that, I thought about it, and you're right.
Yeah. And that's a better strategy than saying, the Constitution doesn't mean shit. Why do you freaking like that thing? It's like, no, like some ANCAPs out there would do.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can introduce them to Lysander Spooner, but you don't have to do it day one.
The way you approach them about it, like, new people. I mean, it's like, don't find their faults, find the things you agree on and expand on it. And then as time goes on, you can, plant those other seeds.
Right. It's like I was talking to my wife earlier. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, Right. Like all you got, you don't want to argue with them. I don't want to fight with you. I don't want to argue with you. I'm going to find our commonalities in our conversation, and I'm going to use those commonalities, and I'm just going to show you, okay, yeah, but in order to be consistent in this idea, this is where you want to go. And then from this step, you go to this step, and this step, you go to this step. And it's a process. None of us were libertarian overnight. Not one of us were like full-blown libertarian overnight. We all had our inconsistencies. We were all fucking contradicting ourselves at some point in time. We probably all still do at some point in time.
Oh, yeah. In 2011, 2012, I was freaking I was excited to vote for Barack Obama. I didn't know shit about fuck. and then I just had this memory of talking about Obama at a bar, and my tattoo artist was telling me to check out Ron Paul, and I took one look at him. I was like, oh, fucking old white Republican, and I forgot all about it. And then I saw a video clip of him talking about the war, because I started to get into being against these wars, but I was still like a Democrat. And then I heard this guy talking about it, and then it was just that freaking rabbit hole that led me to start reading books and listening to podcasts, and it's been 8 years to where I am today.
Yeah, I embarrassingly, I freely admit I'm embarrassed by it. I donated to Ted Cruz's presidential campaign.
Yeah. We were on the opposite ends of the freaking cathedral.
Yeah. I was like, this man is a straight constitutionalist. He has the Constitution memorized. Who's better than him? Yeah, I bought it. And then, you want to, we're going to have this last little bit of the conversation. I'll let you plug whatever you want to plug and we'll get done here. But you want to know the craziest thing about my conversion from Glenn Beck style conservative to where I am today?
What's that?
What got me thinking and changed my mind was a phone call with Austin Peterson when he was running for president.
Oh, no shit, huh?
No shit.
Wow.
Of all the milquetoast motherfuckers that could have changed my goddamn mind.
Wow.
It was Austin Peterson.
Hey, he would have been a better pick than Gary Johnson, though.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
Besides Ron Paul, the second thing that did it for me was the first book, libertarian book I ever read, which was Mary Ruat's Healing Our World. No, is that what it is?
I haven't read that one.
Yeah, no, it's Healing Our World in an Age of Aggression. I had to turn around and look at it on my bookshelf. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't read that one. I'm gonna have to check that one out.
It's never read that. It's a good one. That and then Ron Paul Revolution was the first two books I read.
First quote unquote libertarian book I ever read was The Law by Bastiat.
Oh, that's great.
Oh man, you want to talk about my mind being blown out of my back of my skull?
That's one small pamphlet of just red pill after red pill.
Yeah, maybe that's why that's why I started a podcast so quickly. I was like, I got to tell people about this shit.
Yeah, two small little books that you can recommend to people: The Law and Anatomy of the State.
Anatomy of the State. Yeah.
Those
were the first two I read.
Yeah.
Those were my first two. That was the first exposure to libertarianism. Was I read The Law, and after Austin Peterson, I talked to Austin Peterson, and what we were actually both reading the exact same book at that time. It was what is it called? The Art of Power, and it's a biography on Thomas Jefferson by John Meacham. And then he was like, after you're done with that, have you read these books? And I was like, no. And he told me, I can't remember what book he told me to read, but I don't think I ever read it, because I ended up finding the Mises Caucus and then I saw the Judge Napolitano speech where he basically admitted that he was an anarchist. And then I found the Tom Woods show, and in the suggestions under the Tom Woods show was an audio book version of The Law. And I listened to it, and the next audio book suggested was Anatomy of the State. So those were the first two libertarian books I ever read.
Nice.
Yeah.
One that I recommend to conservative friends that aren't all the way where we are is Crisis and Leviathan.
Yes.
By Robert Higgs, The Ratchet Effect.
Yeah. That's a great book.
Hornberger used to talk about that one a lot.
Higgs was a god among men.
Yeah. But I one of the things I've been taking away with everything going on right now is that I hope that it's just a nail in the identity politics game right now. Like, I don't think they're going to be able to pull that shit for a while right now with everything that's going on.
They're going to try. I'm always cautious whenever they have a strategy like that's worked so effectively. And there are so many people, you got to think about it.
Right.
There are people that believe in identity politics as strongly as you and I believe in liberty. And so there are people that are extremely passionate about this. And so I'm really careful to hedge my bets when it comes to something like that. I think that's going to be be one of those beasts that's going to be hard to kill. Yeah,
there's some powerful people and ideas behind identity politics.
Absolutely.
The Marxist language that's used in it. It's a very appealing to people.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to see a pushback on it. Like I saw a tweet about oh, we got you know, women in the or trans people are going to be allowed back in the military, and I saw all sorts of people, not even libertarians, like just mocking it, like, you know, with the clapping hands emojis, more trans drone pilots to bomb freaking, you know,
yeah, because that's
more female drone pilots.
That's what
brown people in third world countries.
That was what America was. That's what America's real sin was. We didn't have enough trans people. Committing war crimes and participating in genocides. That was the problem.
Everybody should have an equal opportunity to drone bomb Doctors Without Borders hospital in Syria. I mean, come on.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. All right, brother. Where can these people find you if you want them to?
Find me. I got nothing to plug right now, but I'm on Facebook, Erik Sawyer. I got an Instagram meme page at all we want is liberty. And that's about it. I'm not that active on Twitter, but I'm at ETS138. That's about it. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were running that. What was it? Dank memes. Was it?
No, those what, the Hornberger dank meme stash?
Yeah. Are you still running that?
That's a couple other my buddies that were on the Hornberger campaign.
Oh, okay.
They got nuked from Facebook, but I think they're back on now.
Well, I'm assuming it was them that started another one called Dave Smith Dank Memes.
Yeah, I think that's Mitch's little.
Oh, is that Mitch?
Thing there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just got my Instagram page that I just dump all my memes on, get some originals on there, but yeah, that's about it.
All right.
And I doing the work with the Mises Caucus here in New Hampshire.
All right, man. Well, how can people get in touch with the Mises Caucus if they're interested in finding more out about the Libertarian Party?
MisesCaucus.com, Facebook, just search Libertarian Party Mises Caucus. Same thing with Twitter at LP Mises Caucus. And they got an Instagram page too. Same thing. They're on all of them.
Yeah, they're on
MeWe. They're on.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
Search Libertarian Party Mises Caucus. And if you're in a certain state and you want to get involved with the state party, you just search Libertarian Party Mises Caucus, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and any state you're in, and you'll find it. And you can reach out to their organizers.
All right, man. Well, Erik, you're one of the best ones. I'm going to stop the recording, and then we'll just chat for a minute, and then we'll be done.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on. It's the first podcast appearance I've ever had.
I'm glad you came on, man. I'm glad I finally twisted your arm enough. Backstory, I've been trying to get this motherfucker on this goddamn podcast for 2 years now. So
I'm so goddamn busy, man.
I know, man.
Said you're just a slave. All your good intentions took you to your grave. Your pride is how they killed you. With the flag you wave just like a fool. They promised you a mountain, gifted you a stone. They demanded that you throw it into your neighbor's home, and then seize all that they worked for and give it to the throne just like a tool. Well, as we all just stand in line and glorify new ways of being cruel, seems to me humanity is not something that they're teaching us in school. They dumbs down all around, propaganda, their pollution. They set a cage up on the stage, a facade for all solution. They build a wall, block them all from this mental institution. It's insane. they're crossing all their T's. They're fashioning their people to all wear beggars' knees. If you want a clean drink of water, well, you must say pretty please. It's all a game. As we all just stand in line and justify these crimes done in our names. It seems to me authority and tyranny are both one and the same. Well, it's time to change the channel. It's time to set things right. Make them all rot with fear in their beds at night. Devour all their worthless souls and sacrificial right, just like we should. Cause this world needs a cleansing to burn away the shame and destroy all the remnants of those who are to blame. And we'll stack them up like cordwood, watch them sizzle on the flames for good. Well, as we all just stand in line waiting for some kind of Robin Hood, our liberty will never be until our right to freedom is understood.